Junkyard Batman. Chapter 7. I don't have a phone, but Selina does, and she calls us an Uber. The driver, a short man with a picture of his kids on his dash, weaves through the collected police vehicles gathering in front of Penguin Tower to pick us up. "Denny's," she says to him. "That rough a night, huh? Denny's is for licking wounds and planning revenge." After that, he drives us in silence. I watch Gotham roll by through the window. "Just chill," he said, hands up while panting frantically. He was terrified. I wipe my knuckles on my pants, ruining them. Selina stops me with a gentle touch to my arm. We arrive. She thanks the driver, and holding my arm, we enter Denny's. I'm pretty sure she is holding me up. Finding a booth, a tired waitress brings us coffee and menus, then wanders off to roll silverware. I'm starving, but I'm spiraling into a shame circle so profound that I can't even look at the menu. "I'll order you breakfast," Selina says. I want to say I'm freaked out, that I'm shaky inside from the adrenaline burn. That Gordon could have arrested me for the men in the bathroom, or turned on me and arrested me for the trailer park. But my throat can't decide if it wants to speak or sob, and she doesn't press. The waitress comes by, and Selina orders for us both. She gets me all the protein a breakfast can permit, in a skillet, and orders herself a milkshake and Caesar salad. In silence, we sip our coffee, her eyes gently checking me over. "I never should have asked for curly fries," I say without realizing it. "You didn't," she says. "I got you breakfast." "No, not that. I hesitate. Know what? Might as well. I never should have asked my parents to get me curly fries. We were at the drive-in, the Hampton one that closed down. They went into the food booth while I sat in the car watching the old Zorro movie, and some guy shot them while holding it up. They walked in and surprised him." Selina doesn't react, just listens. "I heard the gunshots, but they just didn't register for me. I thought it was a car backfiring or part of the movie. After a while, I got impatient and went to look for my curly fries, and found them surrounded by people." She slowly reaches a hand out to me. I take it, desperate for a lifeline. I can barely see her beauty through my welling tears. Someone had grabbed the guy, and a bunch of people had held him down, and I thought if I'd been there, I could have done that, maybe faster. She rubs her thumb, the one with the spoon ring, gently across my ravaged knuckles. "And that's why I'm just flailing at... trying?" And that's it. My throat finally changes its mind and decides to go full cry. She gets up, comes over, and sits next to me. Holding my arm, she rests her head on my shoulder. My God, this feels good. Not just being close to her, but just to cry. I'm always so worried about crying in front of Uncle Lou because he lost a sister. And I'm so afraid to cry in front of Al because he lost his best friends. But I feel so safe for once. Sniffling, I compose myself. She hands me a bin of napkins, and I nod my gratitude as I unplug the gooey ocean pouring out of my face. I wad up the offending napkins. "Sorry," I say. She nods slowly. "I swear I'm not looking for pity sex," I profess, trying to crack a joke. "You would never get it," she answers, dead serious. Our food arrives, and she goes back to her seat. At first, I'm wounded that she left, but I also get to look at her this way and watch her eat. There's no way to lose when she's around, it seems. She's a dainty eater, nibbling consistently and surely while I do my best not to shovel my food into my face like usual. The coffee might be awful or great, I just can't tell or care at this point. "Well," I ask through puffy eyes, "your turn." She shakes her head. "No, tonight isn't about me. But I am listening if you want to talk about what happened tonight." I nod. I got in a fight in the bathroom, got one of the guys to tell me where to look in the building, and then I called the police on his phone, a good person I could trust." She listens. "And then they came and arrested Joker, and let his girlfriend go, luckily." Selina glances at my knuckles. I saw you mouthing that Gotham is your city a lot. What does that mean? I see something skeptical in her eyes. I'm afraid of her judgment. I fear how accurate it might be. Answering carefully, I continue. I won't let people like Joker whomever own Gotham. I won't let them take more innocent parents away like mine. So you're responsible for Gotham now? Well, not alone, but I want to do what I can where I can. How many homeless shelters are you volunteering at, Bruce? The question blindsides me. None. Any retirement homes you visit, or play board games with forgotten elderly? Or do you host any kids programs, act as a big brother, put money back into your community? I'm mildly incensed. Wasn't she just holding me? Do you? I fire back. Yes, she answers without blinking, when I get the chance. I remember how she didn't take that last bill the pawn shop owner offered her. I also wonder how big a cut she offers those who let her into back doors. I bet it is bigger than any cut they'll be offered otherwise. Mercilessly, she continues, but you spent however much time and money and resources welding together a tank, a bulletproof suit, just to beat your knuckles bloody. I want to protest, argue that they had cornered me in the bathroom. I wanted to counter with the truth of the matter, but I know how much of a part of me enjoyed it. They were locked in there with me. I was the one, not Chill or anybody else, but I was the one who got to spill blood on the tile. I got to stain the grout red. I got to have some power for once. Submitting to her observation, I slowly nod. She is taken aback. She was expecting me to argue it, but I've been alone enough in my skin to know me. Her face softens. She continues nibbling at her salad. A lucky cherry tomato gets the full tour of her mouth before vanishing. She then begins poking at her phone. Looking to kindle conversation just to hear her voice, I remember how Mom and Dad always talked about their day, so I ask, Did you do well in Iceberg? Yeah, Batman is asking if Catwoman got a good haul. A prideful look of mischief crosses her face. Reaching under her skirt, she pulls out 2 watches, a college ring with diamonds, and a silver billfold. I touch the ring. It's warm. They don't search you there, she smiles. There are 1,000 witty things for me to say, like, you'll have to show me how you do that, or what kind of Alice gear do you have for panties, or what else do you have hiding in there, or, wait, I know where to look once you steal my heart. Boom, hells yeah, good one, she smiles. Pretty sure I got that already, she says. Looking her food over, she pulls 100 from the billfold and puts the rest of her loot into her boot. It's on me. Oh no, she's leaving? Oh, please don't leave. She gets up, steps over to me, and kisses me on the cheek. I like you, Bruce. You're sexy in all the ways you don't think you are. I sense a but, and it's not the kind I'm hoping for. Placing a hand on my raw knuckles, she sighs. But every man who lashes out like this, especially out of love, ends up clocking me. Besides, I don't do projects. I'm a project? My God, to her I am absolutely a project. I want to slide down the booth under the table and hide like a kid. Offering me a reassuring smile, she dances her nails up my arm. Doesn't mean you won't be seeing me around, though. With that, she walks out, her hips doing a little extra work to wave goodbye to me. In the parking lot, she climbs into another Uber and gives me a gentle smile from the back seat as she drives off. I wave back, telling her how much I love her with my eyes. My God, even rejection from her feels good. Quietly, I spend the next week actually working around the junkyard. Al and I organize some small engine parts, strip the wiring out of a bunch of stereo equipment, and we process nearly 400 pounds of dead batteries. The busy work feels good. Uncle Lou seems pleased to have a routine going again. He even splurges on some gardening soil and planting boxes. Tomatoes are great in breakfast omelets, he says. One morning, while greasing some bearings for resale, Uncle Lou calls for me to come from across the yard with a megaphone. He needs me in the office. He almost never does this, handling everything Wayne by himself. Jogging into the front office, I see Bane, as luchador as always, just standing there. The wood flooring of the small room creaks under his weight, and his head nearly touches the wobbly ceiling fan. I'm here for that favor, amigo. Uncle Lou gives me a nervous look. I walk Bane into the yard to chat. He explains that his apartments got raided by some unmarked ICE task force, and a lot of his people were nabbed. Hoods over the head and all that. It sounds like some Gestapo shit. I need you, and most of all, I need your truck, he says. My lawyer says that everyone, including the kids, are to be transferred out of the state into a way station for indefinite hold. They rip out women's wombs there. They separate children from their parents there. They rape there. I don't dare interrupt while he's ranting. Because, honestly, I'm already on board. I don't care about the legality of it. These are people of Gotham. My city, after all. Their citizen status does not define their human status. He lays out a reckless plan for hitting the convoy as it leaves the compound west of Gotham. You take out the front escort vehicle, ram it off the road, and my boys will jump the buses, handle the deputies, and then I forget how much bigger he is than me for a second, and I interrupt him. No. Guns will go off and people will die. No. I see him glare through his mask. These deputies deserve to die. Hey, I'm going to help, but your plan is garbage. They're being held at the Pine Ridge Detention Center west of Gotham, right? He nods slowly. Well, I did 5 months there for beating up a shitty kid. I know the building. ICE took it over. Now has guard towers with snipers. I shrug. Better snipers in a far-off tower than shotguns in a prison bus with a lot of innocent people in the way. Thoughtfully, he nods. I have 2 days. 2. Give me a better plan. Well, okay then. I tell Bane to sit tight at the yard for an hour. Al looks after him, and to my amusement, they pass the time plunking on the banjo at the spool table. Then I get Uncle Lou and convince him to close the front office for just a bit as we run to the library. While the detention center's interior schematic isn't publicly available, the land around it is well mapped. Uncle Lou and I get through what the Gotham Library has, and by examining the water lines, electrical lines, and roads, we estimate the basic layout of the grounds. I remember the inside pretty well. I also remember watching the monthly batch of kids get round up and taken to a multi-purpose room to await transit whenever the feds came for them. It was usually the really bad kids in for gang stuff, rape, or murder. These people might have done some of that shit under Bane, but I also know some of them probably didn't. ICE doesn't care these days, and if I get one innocent person free, then I'll let the guilty go too. Ben Franklin would agree with me, since he was all let 100 guilty persons escape before letting one innocent suffer. Besides, I believe Bane when he says there are kids here. He wants to hit a convoy on the road, Uncle Lou asks. Honestly, he's showing more interest in this than I expected. Yeah, but I told him my concerns with that. Shotguns and armed guards in the vehicles. If we hit the side of the building, get everyone out, we only worry about these 2 sniper towers. Sniper fire is serious, Bruce, Uncle Lou says, tapping his chin. Don't expect them to hold back. These are untested men, indoctrinated and trained. They are desperate to prove they can kill. I know, but smoke concealment fixes a lot of problems, which we'll have plenty of. Uncle Lou grins. I've got to ask, Uncle Lou. I tread carefully. I thought you'd be against this one. This one is big. ICE has violated the 14th Amendment well beyond mere grievance. The ruling Playa versus Doe protects these children by proxy, and that is to say nothing of what Christ himself would think of this. I'd seen Uncle Lou reading the Bible on occasion, but I always assumed he did so for some sculliary reason. Like, I've never seen him pray, but maybe he runs deeper than I thought. How well do I truly know this man? I'm sorry, Uncle Lou. I've been so caught up lately. I really appreciate you here with me on this. Tipping his head down at me, he peers over his glasses. The Batman is a vital icon for Gotham. It didn't really sink in for me until Sheriff Gordon said you were all over the police departments as a boogeyman. The consequences of this will be ugly and permanent, but there's so much good we can do. And these people are desperate. Does Bane have a head count? He lost 18 people, I say. But there will probably be more. Uncle Lou nods thoughtfully. We'd still do this just for one. Bane brings 8 of his guys in an unmarked white van to the yard. They stay for 2 days, sleeping in cots and cooking over fires, as we drill and train. I walk them all through the plan, how the smoke canisters will work, and what to expect from the snipers. He's got a coach bus ready to pull up to the road and gather everyone. Then he'll book it for state lines, switch buses at several rest stops, all the while gradually shedding passengers to smaller vehicles. Bane's got an entire network of relatives, friends, and compassionate people ready to help on that end. But getting everyone from the loading ramp to the road will be tough, I say, pointing at the model of the ice prison I've built from scrap. I tap a stick on the mini-fridge serving as the multi-purpose room. Everyone will be piled in here around 4 a.m. Bane confirmed that from people who had already been processed through the center. I'll roll through this fence by the road with a snowplow to cut through. Back up to the loading dock, and 3 of your boys will roll out and hook me up to the loading dock door. I position the toy Hess truck I painted black. I gun it, and I pull it off. Then your 3 boys will usher everyone out and lead them to the road for the waiting charter bus. Everyone nods. As I'm plowing through the fence, Bane will use the launcher to fling smoke canisters at Al made. These will give concealment on both sides, blocking clear shots from sniper towers. I look to Bane. Pick your 3 from my truck and have them check the northeast of the yard. Have each of them pick out a refrigerator door. We'll tweak them into ballistic shields against possible fire, and they can just leave them when we run. He gestures to 3 men, and they run off into the yard to find their protection. Turning back to me, I can see a smile in his eyes. Each of those men has a child there, Batman. He is thanking me for keeping my word. Just promise me no one dies, I say. We roll out at 2 a.m. Al has his M14 in the passenger side of the Batmobile, with me, and his face is done up in striped camouflage. I can see the Spec Ops soldier still within the old man. My hands are shaking on the wheel, but he is cool as a cucumber as he seats the rounds in his magazines. Nothing keeps lead from coming your way better than lead going their way, he says. That, and I need someone to shoot out any spotlights that come on. Again, I was surprised that Uncle Lou didn't protest to Al and his rifle coming along. But it was reiterated over and over by me to everyone that nobody dies. The ride is long and quiet. Bane's white van steadily follows me, his 3 refrigerator door guys clinging to the crane of my tow truck. I keep checking my mirror to see if they are uncomfortable, but they are still as gargoyles. Eventually, we arrive. I sigh, lowering my face mask. Al nods at me as I pull over, letting him out a quarter of a mile up the road from the facility. He gives me a thumbs up and vanishes into some bushes. I don't even rustle at his passing. I switch over to the red lights. The white van pulls up behind me. In the mirror, I see Bane climb out the side, my launcher in his arms. He's strapped with an awkward bandolier of 2-liter bottles filled with chems that will burst into smoke upon impact. We wait a few minutes until, further down the road, we see the approaching headlights of the empty charter bus. Bane nods at me in the mirror. Everyone is a go. I roll forward slowly, trying to keep the Batmobile's engine from making too much noise. Maybe an electric engine would have been a better choice over the Bentley W12. As I approach the fence of the ice compound, the stretch closest to the road, I gun it. The Batmobile roars like King Kong, ready to pound its chest. I've got everyone awake now. One of the men in the back whoops a battle charge. Nah, the W12 is just fine for the Batmobile. Barreling off the road, I see the 3 guys struggling to hang on. One drops his fridge door and it tumbles in the grass. The snowplow, which I had Bane's guys sharpen for hours, slices through the reinforced chain-link fence like a hot knife through butter. Sparks fly all over. I can't hear any alarms going off over the engine, but the floodlights on the compound come on. A moment later, one explodes, then the other. Al's aim is terrifying. I don't see from where the smoke bottles come, but they land exactly where I needed them to, both sides of the loading dock. I barrel down into the yard and turn the Batmobile alongside carefully. I don't want my guys falling off. Gunfire erupts from the nearest guard tower. I hear the rounds tinking off the Batmobile. The guys on the truck have their fridge doors high as I back into the scrolling bay door. All three get off. The smoke has gathered enough so that the snipers are just blind firing now. I'm guessing their magazines have 30 rounds because they are blowing through bullets as fast as they can. They are trained, but clearly they aren't battle-hardened. I hear Al's M14 go off again, blowing out a spotlight in one of the towers. That sniper eases off, likely cowering. One of the guys bangs on the back of the Batmobile. I'm all hooked up. With a gentle press of the gas, not only does the loading bay door rip off, but its concrete fixings do as well. The whole wall folds and comes with me, leaving 2 steel girders holding up the side of the multipurpose room. There are rows of prisoners seated on the floor, cowering with their hands folded over their heads, eyes wide. Some children, some elderly, all human. At least 6 guards pour out swinging batons. One fires a taser fruitlessly into a fridge door as they charge my guys. I leap out, detach my ballistic door, and charge through the smoke at them. The ice guys all see me, freeze, and run. Literally run. They haul ass back inside, and Bane's boys chase them through a security door. "Rapido!" I shout, pointing toward the massive hall. "Rapido! Rapido!" Bane's guys join in as they usher everyone to their feet. I spy a security camera, one of many, recording the room. I remember, as a kid here, glaring at those. I wanted whoever was in the booth watching to know how pissed I was. So I do the same here. I stand tall as a wave of people flee around me. I'm a rock in a desperate, weeping, turbulent ocean of liberation. They will have footage of this image to share. Batman standing tall, making the world better. Be damned the legality of it. I'm the last one to walk out, and I take my time doing it. This building is mine now. I lived here briefly, but now it is mine. And I will only permit ICE, or whomever, to use it in my absence. Stepping out, the smoke is dense. Everyone's heads are low as the 3 guys squat run everyone toward the open fence. The guard tower starts opening up again. Then the other one. They are blind firing into these women and children. Nearly chipping a tooth in rage, I jump back in the Batmobile and roar towards one of the towers. I don't care that the clattering dock door is flying around behind me. I hit the gas with every pound my leg can produce. The sniper is now focusing his fire on me, each round smacking into the windshield. Ramming the tower, I'm thrown forward into the steering wheel. My bell's seriously rung. I can't hear, and my vision is a blurry, moving lump in slow motion. But I hear a groan of steel, a popping of concrete, and down the tower tilts, slow at first, then fast, as it collapses into the trees. The branches catch it, keeping it from hitting the ground and slowing its descent. The sniper's likely alive, but I don't have time to check, and honestly, I'm too jacked right now to care. More sniper fire hits the Batmobile from the other tower, which is good. If they fire at me, they aren't firing at the people. I roll back, a chunk of the tower's concrete foundation sliding off my hood, and drive out toward the fence behind everyone. Through the smoke, I see the charter bus loading rapidly. There are a few brief, sobbing reunions of joy. But there are also several people injured from running and gunfire. One appears dead, a bullet in her chest, with her head flopped back, staring at the pre-dawn stars. Her daughter clutches her, sobbing. Stunned, I bring the Batmobile to a rolling stop. Bane taps on my ballistic door. Opening it, he hands me the spent launcher. He sees me staring at the poor girl, holding her dead mother. "She died free," Bane said lovingly in his tenor voice, "which is why she came to Gotham in the first place. Thank you, amigo." I'm on the brink of sobbing again. Another child clutching their parent. Another gunshot. Good God, Bane snatches me up in a bear hug. The kind I think only big brothers can give. Putting me down, he runs back to his white van. "Batman!" someone calls. I'm baffled at first, wondering who is calling out my moniker. It's Al, charging up to me. "Get in and drive," he shouts. Climbing into the passenger side, I obey. Get in and gun it down the road. In the mirror, I see the charter bus pull off, heading south without its lights on. The van takes off down a dirt road into farmland, and we speed off back toward Gotham.